Actually, it's pre-PG that eased me into the proper preparation phase. I gave daily tests every day. That was like that was one must-do thing for me. It kept you in touch with all. Main thing was this: it kept you in touch with all the subjects in a 2-week span. In that 2-week span, you might not be able to study everything like with your notes, but some or the other way, you have seen few questions of all the subjects. Practicing exams help in similar atmosphere. I used to give GT also religiously, like almost every week I've given a GT. Like even if you're not subscribed to any classes or started taking proper notes, you can use pre-PG to prime yourself into the like, to get to knowing how MCQs are approached, everything.
Yeah, so how does it feel? Are you in Delhi now or where are you?
Yes, sir. I've already joined, so currently I'm in Delhi.
Really great. It's pretty nice up there. You don't have to give NEET anymore.
Yeah, that is a relief.
That's a big relief. That's true. So how can you before we start, can you explain me where did you completed your MBBS from? How did your preparation go?
Sir, I did my UG from Government Medical College, Calicut, Kerala, from my hometown.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Preparation as far as entrance was concerned started post internship. We had a pretty hectic internship, and preparation was solely like after completion of the internship.
Oh, so it's 1 year worth of work. That's a pretty good uh, thing that you have done. That's really nice. So, like when you were preparing, just to set things up, uh, when anyone does such a good in exam, I'm always assuming during college they had also done very well. Their fundamentals have to be really good to do that.
I mean, I tried my best during my college days, but I haven't been like topper throughout or anything such. I did
Okay,
decently. That's all. I
but
was
you
focusing on that's
so like to get such a good rank, you have to have a very good understanding of subjects from the fundamental perspective. That to me, I always say, like my with my brother, it used to be students who were very clear-minded would always score very well in exams, versus the students who would mugify everything.
that is
Right?
important. Like even though it's a ultimately it tests your memory and stuff like that, but for that to be strong, it's better if you understand it in a proper way.
Awesome. So when you started after internship, when you started preparing, what was your goal like? Or what did you expect? Where would you land? Did you have aspiration to be such high? What was it?
Not exactly, sir. Like the plan was actually keeping NEET PG in mind. I wanted
Mhm.
medicine, so
Okay.
like I wanted to go back to my own college. Actually, that was the dream. A seat in
Okay.
NEET. Honestly, that was the dream.
Okay. No,
That's how.
this is fine. Trying hard to go to GMC Calicut is pretty good. It's a really good college. So pretty neat. So how did you prepare? Like if you wanted to go there, you still needed pretty good rank. It's a nicely well-regarded college in Kerala, right? So what was your plan when you started preparing?
My plan, like I joined face-to-face classes uh,
Mhm.
in Calcutta itself. I was staying at my home for the preparation. So my plan was to uh, complete the portion and also take revision hand in hand during the first phase of preparation itself. Because
Oh,
initially our internship ended in June, like in July. My started preparation started only at the end of July in 2023.
okay.
Actual preparation. So there was even news that NEET will be held in January that this year. So I was really scared if I'll be able to complete or not. So
Hmm.
when they had like classes were already scheduled, along with the classes, whatever portion I've already completed, I tried to revision also. I did not keep revision for completion of the first read. Revision also is going on hand in hand with the first read. whatever subjects have been already completed. That was the plan in the beginning, at least.
Okay. So when you started, so you started in Bhartiya's and then you start. So how did you get to know about pre-PG?
Actually, it's with pre-PG that I started first. I told my
Oh.
preparation started post internship, but
Mhm.
to ease into that preparation, I had started using pre-PG during my internship days itself.
Okay.
I not have a proper notes or classes before that, but I had started practicing questions in pre-PG during internship itself, giving daily tests. So it's a senior who introduced me to pre-PG, and
Mm.
yeah, so actually it's pre-PG that eased me into the proper preparation phase.
Awesome. No, this is what one of the big reasons why we try to keep as much things open as possible is to reach as many students as we can so that they are not scared with the exam. They're always prepared. And you mentioned revision. When you were taking daily tests, were you doing daily revisions also
Uh,
on pre-P?
I gave daily test every day. That was that was one must do thing for me. Like whatever be the like preparation state that day, even on bad days, if I gave that, I feel better. That was the
Okay.
thing. Test like something that has to be achieved on that day. My revisions were not tied with that. I did not go along that timetable of that daily test, but revisions went hand in hand. It was like even if I had not studied that subject, I would give the daily test of that subject, no matter what. So that you get into studying or revising that subject, some questions, some things you have already seen that helps you.
Right, right. No, in fact, this is one of the things that I've seen consistently. The toppers are the ones end up taking a daily test. Many times when you see anyone who is in top 20, 30 consistently, they would most likely get in top 10, top 20 ranks if they are extremely consistent on the daily test. I've seen it over and over. Right? When initially I used to actively track our toppers. It used to be that out of top 10, 7, 5, 3, sometimes all 10 and 10 would be using, and exactly like you, every single day, do daily test. Uh, so how did it help you really?
Uh, like I could see my progress also. Initially, when I started using, I did not have a base. I did not have proper notes for any subject or anything. So there was the range in which I would score. So I took it as my baseline, like whatever I know from my UG days or something that was there in those daily tests, like in the when I did it during my internship phase, And after I started proper preparation, after having proper notes and stuff, like scores also increased. There would be dips in between. It was not like every day it was consistent good or anything. But then you could see the progress. You could also review even on the days when you score poorly. You can review and see where you went wrong. It kept you in touch with all. Main thing was this: it kept you in touch with all the subjects in a 2 week span. In that 2 week span you might not be able to study everything like with your notes, but some or the other way you have seen few questions all the subjects.
In fact, you brought the right point. Like this was one of the most important reason why we chose 2 week cycle to make sure within 2 weeks you will touch every single subject. You have, as long as you are doing this, it doesn't matter if you're prepared or not prepared, it will make sure you're making mistakes in the test are the mistakes that you most likely remember.
Yeah,
If you are trying to come to the top, right? If you're just taking tests, it doesn't matter much. But if you're trying to correct every single thing, every single mistake there helps you, right? And when you do a review, revise the test, revise your mistakes, they stay with you. And now if you do it for like 1 year straight, this is like a lots and lots of questions, like 30, 40,000 questions. You would have practiced right up here, right? So that's great. So you were doing that. That helped you quite a bit. Did you used to follow the readiness index and the improvement there that you were seeing?
yes sir, that was a motivation during the preparation journey. Like you can see there is some objective measure for the work you're doing, the growth. Like it
Right.
helps, like if it's improving, even when you're practicing questions. I would like obsessively go back to see the readiness index, how like how which were my weak subjects, are they improving? Like after you study one subject or have proper classes of that subject, like to get it to a better position, to get that subject there, that was there. I used to follow
Awesome.
it.
So you were seeing things getting green step by step as you are
That
preparing.
helped. uh,
Yeah, the way I call it is like it's a grass growing. The harder you work, the grass starts coming from bottom towards the top. The green starts coming in. And to many students, that's like very, very, what should I say? Very inspiring. They want to make that green go taller every single time. Uh, so that's great to hear that you did use it and it was inspiring and making sure you were on the right track. What else did you use from our app platform? Which other feature did you use? Did you like?
I did practice questions. Like every subject, you can filter out topics and practice questions. So in
Right.
PPT, the good thing is that you can practice many questions in one go compared to many other apps. You can
Right.
practice a like larger bulk of questions at a time. So
Yeah.
PPG was the one I used in between the classes. So whenever I had to travel, so in that phase, I could like simply practice maybe 100, 150 questions in a go of
Awesome.
what taken that day itself. So even before revising, you get some exposure to questions.
That's like this is another thing that you pointed out, which is very important. Uh, I do ask any student that I work with is if you take classes or if you really are going to study a subject, always start with a practice, right? What it does, like the way I say it, is like it primes your mind to look for things where it is weak in, right? So when you practice, you get many things wrong for some reason. And then if you go take a lecture, you're more likely to remember a lot more. The effectiveness of lecture goes up significantly if you have practiced before versus if you're not practiced before. So it's good to hear that you were doing it. And uh, this is another thing that I always say is like these are the habits of toppers, that's what I call. Consistently taking tests, always practicing before opening the book. Uh, as much if you can go to a topic, that's great. Pretty much what you were trying to do there. So that's nice, being able to practice a lot. What about study circle?
Like initially, I told you my senior introduced me to this. So with my friend and him, and that there was some accountability, like with study circle being in place. So like you want to attempt daily, like even on days, because it was during my internship days as well. Like you will be tired and you will feel like you don't want to do that day, but because there was some accountability factor, you will try to do
Right.
that. That
So
helped me in the initial phase at least to get primed into this preparation.
preparation, that's nice. In fact, one of my best study circle stories is also from Calicut. Like 3 4 years back, Bhatia, a coaching institute in Calicut, they used to use pre-PG as their standard app, right?
Yes,
And
sir.
then Bhatia barred it, saying, okay, you can't use pre-PG, you have to use ours. But before that, pre-PG was standard in Calicut, Bhatia Calicut. And there were a group of like 7 students, uh, all 7 of them friends. They were using pre-PG, but they were also pushing each other in what's it called, study circle. And as it turned out, all 7 of them got selected. Their ranks varied from 130 to 3,700, right? And that's like when I talked to like there, I think when we did the interview, it was also a group interview when we did with them. So it was all 7 of them very excited using study circle. And exactly as you said, it was a mechanism to push each other, right? So a day when you are not feeling energetic, but the other guy has just posted a challenge, or if your friends, the thing is, if I've taken a daily test and now you go for daily test, you can compare every single mistake that you made against mine, right? So those things help quite a bit. So that again, but it also is very important to really have a friend circle where you can use it. Otherwise, it becomes, you have to have all of the people there pushing each other consistently. Great. So so from your preparation, can you tell me, like when you started preparing going to the college, how long did it take for you to complete the syllabus for the first time, and how many revisions did you do?
Like the classes got over by January first week
Hmm.
or the end of December, like in a
Okay.
span of 5 months. But during that 5 months itself, I went to offline classes, so there'll be breaks in between two classes and all. So
Right.
in between itself, I had started revision of whatever subjects were over. So uh, like I can't say the number of proper revisions I have given. My plan was to always try and revise very fast so that I can incorporate multiple number of revisions rather than having proper as such revisions. That was my plan. That was what worked for me. So, like maybe in a span of 1 month, I tried to cover the whole subjects after this phase. I wasn't successful always in completing everything, but then I kept on trying. Like my schedule was like that. Maybe six,
Hmm.
seven revisions I managed to.
So essentially, what I'm hearing is like you were not really planning for revision. This is another trick I've seen few people do, which is rather than going for a book-based revision to say, okay, I'm going to open a book, go out notes, and go through things, they would just go practice a topic by topic. And through practice, they will revise. So, what were you doing? Were you going through notes for revision, or
Uh,
were you practicing primarily?
I did go through notes, like especially in the initial phase itself. My practice was like towards the end of the preparation, it was like mixed bag type of practice. Like I was practicing every subject, even if it was not the subject I'm revising that day also. Like I practice every subject 100 questions means putting every subject or half the subjects on one day, rest of it on the next day. That kind of practice was going on, so I don't lose touch of any subject.
So essentially, what you did is you said, selected n number of subjects and say, today I'm going to do 100, questions practice of these subjects. But it was consistently spraying yourself with uh, the practice, making sure you are not forgetting everything, you are in touch with pretty much everything. That's nice, like essentially, but that itself doesn't do it justice. You have to focus on something on a daily basis.
Like there was a different plan on how to revise my notes. Like that will be maybe one or two subjects in a day. That was going on. I
Oh,
I try to practice questions from that subject also, maybe 50, 100, like specific to what I'm studying. But this practice of practicing like mixed bag of questions, like 100 questions of all the subjects together, like doing that consistently helped me at least towards the end. Because ultimately,
that
it's a CT of like 19 different subjects, right? The exam
right, right.
also.
So essentially, you did not take NEET at all. Now that I'm just realizing that, right?
Haven't
Did you, you did not even take NEET? That's so amazing. Did you take 2023 NEET or no?
take 2020.
That you had taken. Okay. So, but then after that, no NEET. So, when you have practiced so much on daily tests, what was your experience during the exam day?
This INICET I did go without very big expectations or anything. My plan, like the intention itself, was to give up like a very good exam, like with a calm mind. I prepared myself for that, like from the previous night itself. No matter what happens, it's going to be okay. Like just give a very good exam. So and also the exam was in a new pattern, so you had it was in blocks, right? So
Right.
my plan was to just think about whatever you have in that time space. After that, once you move to the next block, don't think about the other one. Practicing exams helped in like in similar atmosphere. I used to give GT also religiously, like almost every week I've given a GT.
Okay.
So that also helped during the exam.
So there was no time pressure, nothing. You were like easily going through it.
Time pressure was not there. Time management is something that I had like it was okay for me like by practice it came because of the
Okay.
GT practice. Time was not an issue. Paper was confusing. I did not feel it was a very easy exam or anything. I was of the opinion that paper was tough, but then
Oh, yeah.
and
It's always like that. Oh, I
there
was just
like
saying when you go to AIMS is like AIMS paper cannot be. It's always confusing, right? So this is what I say. It's like they ask you question in a way that right correct answer also seems wrong, and wrong answer also seems correct, and you are always confused. And which is why I said the fundamentals are very important when you look at AIMS.
yeah, you had to have a calm mind and think what could be the possible answer in this question rather than like taking it out from something that you have mugged up already and finding the answer. It was like okay, this is what they have given. You have to think and find an answer. I felt like that for every question.
Okay, so but you did very well. That's what it is. Like you were a lot more calmer, most likely because you had prepared yourself to say, okay, stay calm, don't worry. And most importantly, you were thinking of GMC Calicut, uh, right? So it eased you in. You had no pressure. There was nothing to lose, uh, right? So that's great to hear. Like this is a really great story, in fact. Uh, so other than that, how was your family supporting you in your preparation?
I stayed at my home like during the entire phase of preparation. It wouldn't have been possible without their support. Like everyone, I was solely focused on studies during this phase, so they supported in that.
So how many hours were you studying on daily basis?
Uh, uh, I tried to like put 10 to 12 hours. I wasn't successful every day, but then this was the plan.
Okay,
Most of
that's pretty good. Like being that much dedicated itself is a big deal. 10 to 12 hours daily basis consistently for a year. Uh, Even 5 days a week, if you can achieve that, that's a big thing. Were you ever feeling like depressed or anything like that during the preparation, or it was just fine?
just like I had every week like you will have self doubt during this preparation. It is inevitable. I was having like almost breakdowns every other week, but then you have to get support from your friends, family, and then just show up every day, even if you're not able to give your 100%. That was my problem. Like whenever I go back, like whenever I've already wasted time, I'd feel bad about that. I'd feel I'm lagging behind, and then it would get worse. But then with the support of people around me. There were so many people who like I've received so much support that from friends, from people who have already gone through this phase. So with that, like the plan was to show up every day, no matter what, how much ever, like even if you're not able to give your 100%, show up the next day, try to do
Right.
whatever you can.
So that's good to hear. It's like it's very important for everyone to understand self doubts are part of it. Many students think that students who do really come on the top, they don't have it. The fact is, everyone has it. That's why I always ask this question: is if you are having self doubt, there's only one thing you can do is stick to the plan. Make sure you have measurable something that tells you you are really moving up. In your case, I'm assuming that was readiness index and daily test ranks.
It
Um,
helped.
what was it? Were you using something else to also track your progress? For example, tests within Bhatia or some other places.
Yeah, I used to give GTs every week, so improvement in GT scores, ranks, and all also was a motivation. It is not like a linear improvement. There were definitely dips in between where you again have doubts, but then you stick to the process.
Oh, it's by the way, this is everyone has to understand this important piece is the improvement is obviously not like every single day your rank is going to go up. But what you will see is like some days it will go up very much, and some other days it will go down by a bit. What happens is it's always a luck factor that plays in. And what is like if you know stats a bit, then your median is always going up, but then there's a curve around it. Sometimes you'll do much better, sometimes you'll do slightly worse, but the trend always goes up if you are consistently practicing, right? Uh, but that's good. But accepting that it was always going like jagged, but it was going up. Uh, I can understand many times. Like I just think about myself back in the day. Uh, Suddenly you get a bad rank. It's like a punch in the stomach kind of stuff. Like, what happened? What did I
Yeah.
miss? Like, why? How could this guy come ahead of me? Right? That used to be the case. And then you'll fix your problems. You'll say, okay, these three careless mistakes won't happen again. I know what I was thinking, or I don't know what I was thinking. What happened? How did I lose focus? So those things used to happen with me too. So that's good. Anything else you may want to share with other students who are still preparing, looking for a good rank?
Like do not keep judging yourself during this phase. It's a very difficult journey, like with so much uncertainty. You're not sure whether you'll be getting a good rank or not. You can never be sure during this phase. But then, without thinking about that so much, just sticking to the process helps. Ultimately, like what you have to do is give another GT. So just go through the process, like show up every day, and sticking to that helps. Then get a very good support system, people who calms you down. Sometimes when you spiral down, like with your overthinking, with your doubts, when someone else you trust tells you it's going to be okay, it helps. So get that support system around you, like positive people only. So
No, it's good. It's really good, like having support system uh, and then being on the plan. It's very important. One thing, how would you suggest students to do revision? Like, uh, how should they be revising things?
uh, you have to find what works for you. In my case, it was fast revisions rather than few numbers of like very proper or long revisions. It was like multiple times coming back to the same thing that helped me, even if I went a little fast during that first revision. So this is one way of going about it. Like multiple times, if you come back, like even if you read for a long time, there is a tendency that you might forget it anyway. So, but
Right.
you're coming it second time, third time, fourth time means it stays. And also practice question alongside. It is the mistakes that you make that you tend to remember for a longer time. So do not ignore GTs practicing questions just for the sake of covering notes. Ultimately, you have to remember it for the like final exam.
Yes. It's like I always try to explain students that unless until you practice, you will not know what you remember from the notes. The easiest way to put it is you can read the notes, but there's no verification.
Yeah,
When you practice, that's the verification you get that, yes, now I remember the notes. Uh, though
and then
we are,
things
yeah, go ahead.
like, even when you're reading, when you're passively reading, you might have read something, but you might not have taken it in. So only
Yes.
during question is that you realize, oh, this was given in the notes already, but I have not actually understood it in the right way.
It's perfect. Like that's exactly what happens. The way I call it is I can read something 10 times, but unless until it's been asked in a question many times, I may not even see it, even though I'm reading it. Right. I don't know if it happened to you, like, but when I used to prepare it, this was a constant theme I used to see. Is I will read and I will read the whole chapter, everything, and then I'll take question like, what? Where was this? Right? Or back in the day, we did not have these many questions. I would read three times, four times, and even like fifth revision, I would still find one line extra. Like, how did I miss it last four times or last five times?
That will
Right?
keep happening
Right? That
even in
keeps happening.
few days of exam also, you will find new things in your notes.
Yep. And then, but the practice allows you to remember a lot more, right? That's one of the most important thing. Uh, One last question. Did you ever use our daily revision feature, like when you make mistakes, we
Uh,
repeat the questions. Were you using it consistently or not?
Use that. I did use not consistently, but I did use it like for most of the time of my preparation, because you get your mistakes corrected there.
Yes.
Even if we make a mistake a second time, it will also come in the revision like bag of the next day.
Yes.
So like, until you remember it, it comes. It keeps on coming.
Yes. In fact, lot of students complain that we repeat a lot of questions. And I said, no, we don't repeat it. You can't remember it. If you get it right multiple times and our algorithm understands you remember it, it won't repeat it. But it's like one of the important things I always like to mention everyone is we look at our data, and whenever a student makes a mistake, and so if you looked at a question and we gave you question 3 months after, like 90 days later, there are two ways to look at it. You got that question right first time, you got that question wrong first time, and then we gave it back to you 90 days later. When you got it right, your chances of getting it right after 90 days is not 100, it's like 80%. But if you got it wrong, the chances of getting it wrong or right is less than 20%. Essentially, I would get that question right more likely than a person who got it wrong the first time. Even after he has seen the right answer, they will get it wrong most likely. You change only one thing out of it, which is why I always ask about revision. You ask them to take that question again and get it right at least once in revision. So this is the other stat we said. There's like the students then revised and got that question correct. What was the likelihood of corrected question after 90 days? That was 80%, right? So this is one very important thing. If anyone hears this, I would like to always repeat it. Never let your practice go to waste without revising daily revision, right? The easiest way to put it is daily revision makes sure your yesterday's practice, you have made the full use of it, right? If you do not, now in your case, you were doing a lot of question in general. So our algorithm was already giving you a lot of revisions. All your mistakes were coming over and over to you till you are correcting it. But in general, it is very important to do a daily revision. It makes sure your yesterday's practice is fully utilized, right? Uh, so you mentioned you were using it, but then you were also saying that you are going through all the questions uh, in uh, in a mixed mode. And I think that mixed mode, going all the questions and our algorithm always preferring the mistakes, was giving you that revision for free consistently,
Yeah. You
right?
kept seeing questions from like all areas,
All
and
areas
it's
and yeah,
same.
right. And essentially, our algorithm always picks up the areas where you are weak in, or the questions that you made mistakes earlier. So in your case, I haven't looked at the data, but I'm pretty sure you have gone through 35, 40,000 questions with a hell lot of them being corrected at the end of the day.
Yeah, like the getting correct has improved over time. Like it was initially not so, but then it also, like as you said earlier, getting it green each like easy questions made him getting it green. That was also motivation.
Yes, 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 yes. That's so true.
Improved.
So, were there other friends that were studying with you, or most of the time you were studying by yourself?
Uh, I was studying by myself, like, but all my friends were also in the preparation journey. We kept in touch with each other, but studying was alone.
Okay, so you were not like aligning or pushing each other, none of those things in general.
We did. Like constantly kept in touch with each other, like shared our plans, especially in that phase when the postponement happened. Everyone, like all of our preparation took a dip. That phase, we did have to motivate each other to just get back in
Uh,
track.
Yes, this is a neat problem. I like since we started this app, I don't know how much as a pre-PG we have lost money on it because we have this plan where we keep extending our premium thing all the way through. During COVID, we extended all the way till November or I don't know whenever that happened. And the next year again, we had to extend all the way to August, September, right?
And
So
this,
it hurts us, but I always say whenever that happens, it's an opportunity for whoever who doesn't have a consistent plan to pick it up because at the end of the day, it's a game. It's literally a race. It's a marathon. So you cannot rest. I don't know if you have done this. If you are running, and you rest, then you cannot start running again, right? So hopefully you as your friends were able to make sure all of you guys are running. Oh, great. So anything else you would like to share?
like, you have to trust yourself in this process. It is difficult, but ultimately everyone is going to reach wherever they want to. So just keep trusting yourself. Just keep doing what you have to do. Don't overthink it. Just keep doing the basics. Just read what you have already read, especially in this last phase. Do not go for anything new. Just keep practicing. Just trust your sources and read the same thing.
How would you suggest your juniors to use pre-PG?
Uh, yeah, I would suggest them to like even start early if they are in their MBBS phase itself. If like most places they start early for preparation itself. Like even if you're not subscribed to any classes or started taking proper notes, you can use pre PG to prime yourself into the like, to get to knowing how MCQs are approached, everything. You can start practicing early on itself, so that by the time you start your proper preparation, you have some idea like what are important, what are the things that you have to read when you hear a lecture or when you get the notes. You'll have an overall idea about it if you start early by practicing questions pretty easy.
Uh, what would your suggestion be on daily usage? Like, so a small question, I totally forgot about this. Which time of the day did you take daily test?
Uh, it was mostly at the end of the day. Before I went to bed, this was the thing I did.
Okay,
Like,
so that, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, that was how the day ended. However the day went, I wanted to end it with like taking the daily test. And in the morning, you get the notification, right? Your rank has come. Some days it is great. It's great to like, so you'll have the motivation to get up and see that and start the preparation. Some days it does not go that well. Still, that is there. Like you see that and start the day.
Yeah, I'll just add to it. Like one thing I've realized is if anyone wants to be consistent on daily test, pick up a point. Normally there are only 2 points that I've seen as students use it. One is as soon as they wake up, they take daily test. And the other one is right before going to bed, they take daily test. We also have picked up the time of closing at 5:30, just because I know no one can really inconsistently. You would go to bed before it, or you normally wake up. You will get warmed up by 5:30, and which is why our closing time is chosen like that, just so that whichever way you go in the day, you can always take it easily. Uh, so that's great. Thanks a lot, Navita, for interview, agreeing for it.
Thank
I
you.
can't tell you like how much I appreciate this. I've been working here. It's from our perspective, it's always been a non-profit organization. We do not make money. We try to give it as much free as we can. Our what we charge is just so that we can keep the app running. Uh,
So
and
help.
because of, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, like the features that are available for free. Like that itself is like a great boon for everyone who's preparing it ads. Even like the premium features enable you to assess you deeply, like the algorithm prep DNA that helps. Even the free features, like it's so much that it helps you so much during this preparation.
Yes, in fact, I do talk to our team, and I always say a student should be able to get top rank just using the free feature. In fact, one thing that you probably did not realize, we do not give as many questions for free. We only give it every stage of your readiness index, you get more free questions. So because you were at the highest level, you were able to get a lot more free questions, primarily because we realized there's no reason to give a lot of questions for free if you are not making best use of preparation strategy, right? But more important to us is like you contacting us back and sharing your rank and agreeing to the interview. This really helps us because like we have seen a lot of toppers come, but the reason I stopped pushing for their interviews is they would ask for money. There have been cases multiple times when we got messages, really excited students saying we were only using pre-PT, it was our primary, and then 3 days later they go and give interview to someone else. And when we talk about it, like, okay, they paid us, so are you paying us? I'm like, no, we don't pay. We don't have money. But you agreed to it, and that's a big thanks from our perspective. It means a lot to us when our students who really use us come back to us. Thank you. Thanks for that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Namita. No, okay, see you then. Uh, Best of luck for your journey. Keep in touch.
Yes, sir. Sure, sir.
Okay, then. See you. Bye.
Thank you.